Now, members of Congress are trying to rein in the president after he threatened Iran with obliteration. A bipartisan group of lawmakers introduced an amendment that would block any funds for a war on Iran without congressional approval.
What a concept.
Will likely pass in the House, where Democrats hold a majority, but it's going to die in the Senate in a vote on Friday. All this comes after the president slapped more sanctions on Iran in response to the regime shooting down a $130 million U.S. drone. Constitutionally minded critics say they're concerned the Trump administration will try to use the AUMF from 2001, 18 years ago, to go to war with Iran. Are they right to worry? Joining me now, Kentucky Republican Congressman and House Oversight Committee member Thomas Massie is back. What say you, Congressman?
I say let's finish one or two regime change wars in the Middle East before we start another one, Kennedy. We've had wars that have gone on for 2 decades now, and I think the president actually reached a defining moment when he turned down the opportunity to kill people and strike Iran, in spite of the warmongers who were surrounding him.
The warmongers on the left and right, by the way. I mean, we have to point it out. There were as many Democrats who were upset that he held back as there were Republicans.
That's right, and he went with his instincts, which were good on that, and that's what he campaigned on. But we shouldn't leave it up to the executive branch instincts. Our founding fathers put the power to declare and decide matters of war.
Article 1, Section 8.
That's right, Article 1, in the legislative branch. So that's what we're trying to claw back with this legislation. I've got a standalone bill, 2829, with Andy Levin from Michigan, but Matt Gaetz and Ro Khanna have offered an amendment because there's a chance to get a vote on this inside of the National Defense Authorization Act. And like you said, I think that's going to pass. It'll be a steeper climb in the Senate, where Rand Paul and Mike Lee and some of the Democrats are offering an amendment to do the same thing. And what the amendment says is basically, look, all the AUMFs that preceded this conflict with Iran, they don't cover Iran, and the president can't start another war, at least not without an authorization from Congress.
Are you surprised by this, John Stossel? I've got Stossel here, so
yeah. How you doing, John?
Hi, Congressman Massie. Am I surprised by this? No, nobody wants to take responsibility in Congress. And
you would think that they would want some of that constitutionally deemed power back, but apparently...
You would think, but he's one of the few.
Yes, you are one of the few voices in the wilderness, Congressman Massie, who is actually standing up to try and get some of this power back that has been abused by successive administrations.
Senator Cornyn, with all due respect, his statement looks like something from an Onion article. He said, I'm pretty sure we have the votes to stop us from stopping the president from taking the power away from us. Like, it's such a ridiculous statement. But that's where we are. Members of Congress, frankly, when you get down to it, behind closed doors, they'd rather not be accountable, and they'd rather leave this up to the president so that later when they run for president, like half of them eventually do, they can say, oh, I was against it or I was for it, but they're never on the record.
No, they're never on the record. But, you know, why can't we go back to a time like, I know I long for Calvin Coolidge an awful lot around here, but where the executive branch was whittled down to a comfortable nub.
Oh, and, you know, it doesn't matter whether your favorite founding father is Hamilton or Jefferson or Washington or Madison. They all agreed on this point. Leave the war powers in the legislative branch. We don't want a king. It's too dangerous. So let Congress decide. People say, well, they'll take too long to decide. Well, you know what? Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it shouldn't be so easy to go to war.
Yeah. Stossel, last word.
I'm upset that he left off Coolidge when he mentioned the founding. I guess he wasn't a founding father, but I certainly agree with both of you this time.
Yeah, see, agreements and liberty abounds. Let's all take a shot, of course, of Kentucky bourbon. Thank you so much, both of you.
Absolutely. It's the only kind of bourbon that exists.
Damn Skippy.